BTS has been killing it in the music industry since their debut back in 2013. They have achieved success not only in Korea, but on the global stage as well. They broke numerous records, won prestigious awards, and gained a massive fan base across the globe known as the ARMY. BTS has successfully made a breakthrough into the highly competitive US market, and because of this huge global influence, there has been a discourse among K-pop fans. Is BTS still considered K-pop?
Ladies and gentlemen,
BTSARMY, are you ready?
BTS. International music phenomenon.
BTS!
They have made Time Magazine's most influential list.
BTS in the building.
First Korean act to reach #1 on the Billboard charts.
BTS is here. We're back with BTS.
BTS right now.
Woohoo!
Please welcome
BTS!
BTS.
Casual audiences would most likely agree that BTS is K-pop, simply because they're a Korean boy band with flashy outfits, trendy choreographies, and the idol image. But for ARMYs, it's more complex than you think. Since the very beginning, BTS changed how K-pop idols should be like. They changed the depiction of masculinity in South Korea by moving away from the young and innocent schoolboys image. Unlike other boy groups, they debuted looking like old-school gangster rappers. Their music, with a variety of songs expressing their own unique identities, separates them from the typical idol formula. And that is something you don't see in K-pop every day. Aside from that, fans observe that more and more of their discography caters to Western audiences, as the songs they're releasing are in full or almost full English. Like Dynamite, Butter, and Permission to Dance, which are groundbreaking and have made their world stage presence even bigger. BTS has also collaborated with numerous brilliant Western artists like Snoop Dogg, Halsey, Ed Sheeran, Megan Thee Stallion, Nicki Minaj, and Coldplay. But not only that, because this global domination not just contributed to BTS's success, but also to the entire K-pop industry, and on a larger scale, South Korea's economy. In NPR's article published in 2021, it says,
An online concert held by BTS during the pandemic brought in more than $70 million in ticket and merchandise sales. But, like Park Chan-wook says, there is a major ripple effect. BTS's popularity is fueling tourism to Korea, study of the Korean language, interest in Korean movies, television, fashion, and food. All told, BTS is bringing in an estimated $5 billion a year to South Korea. That's around 0.5% of the country's entire economy.
BTS became a global economic force, something that doesn't really happen much in K-pop. But to further understand BTS's impact, we need to know what K-pop is in general. So, what counts as K-pop? People who are outside the K-pop fandom will most likely describe K-pop as music for teenage girls, idols with insanely good looks, and outstanding dance choreographies. For them, it is a style. But K-pop is more than that. A famous blogger named TK Park published an article in his blog, Ask a Korean, where he discussed why K-pop is not a genre nor a style. Because if you look at FT Island, who performs light rock, and the solo crooner IU, who performs mostly pop music, they have nothing in common. Their genres and their styles differ, but they are both undeniably considered as K-pop artists. In fact, the first ever K-pop group ever formed didn't perform pop music. HOT was a hip-hop boy band. As TK Park reiterated, K-pop is basically the music of Korea. It is more of an industry, not just a genre. But this definition seemed to change significantly, especially when Hallyu or the Korean wave started. Since fans outside Korea started listening to K-pop, their view of what K-pop really means has varied over time. And since BTS continuously attracts the global audience, and with every single release, they get bigger and bigger. Some ARMYs also felt like BTS deserves to be recognized as a separate artist rather than being boxed in with other K-pop groups, as their popularity exceeds their home country audience. And while all of this is true for the ARMYs, the Western media still fails to recognize BTS's success. In 2021, BTS appeared in Good Morning America, and the ARMYs were so excited to watch them perform their hit singles Dynamite and Butter. But their excitement quickly turned into anger and disappointment as the host talked about the culture and the success of K-pop as a whole rather than focusing on BTS alone. ARMYs were visibly upset by this mistreatment that they even made #FreeBTS trend on Twitter.
I don't know why this was needed. Do you introduce Drake or The Weeknd if you talk about the success and music of Justin Bieber because they're all from Canada?
But that's not all. One of the major reasons why BTS isn't considered as K-pop is the notorious fan wars. Some K-pop fans think that BTS is becoming mainstream mainstream, while K-pop isn't. They were taken aback since things like this haven't really happened since the global success of Psy's Gangnam Style back in 2012. So, if you think that having a Korean act dominating the world stage again will make K-pop fans happy, you're wrong, because it was the total opposite. In an article published by the Korea Herald in 2018, it says,
"Some K-pop listeners and fans have recently expressed discomfort for the fast-growing BTS fan community. They have claimed that some of the band's ARMY only listened to BTS and showed little interest for K-pop in general, leading to a flurry of posts with hashtag ARMY's ruined K-pop party."
But instead of feeling offended by this, ARMYs actually responded with memes with the hashtag ARMY Independence Day to celebrate their freedom from the K-pop sphere. Some ARMYs wish to distance the group from the label K-pop. But what makes BTS stand out? BTS's music has always been challenging South Korea's norms and standards. They push music for healing, self-expression, and finding one's identity, topics that are considered taboo in South Korean culture. It was evident in their first single, No More Dream, which represents a rebellious rejection of Korean traditionalism. Aside from that, their trilogy album, Love Yourself, also talked about loss, separation, and most importantly, self-love. While most K-pop groups shy away from producing music where they express their vulnerable selves in the fear of being criticized by the keen eyes of South Korean fans, BTS revolted. BTS made sure that their music is raw and authentic, and that is something you don't see very often in K-pop. And what made them stand out is because they perfectly portray the Western's idea of rebellion and freedom of expression without losing Korea's ideals of respect and morality. This is the reason why BTS not only attracted young teenage girls, as a stereotype usually linked to BTS's fanbase, but they also attracted casual music listeners who aren't really much into the glamour of the usual K-pop. But perhaps BTS's biggest asset is their ability to communicate authentically with their fans. Their music makes their fans feel seen and understood, and it inspires them to be their true selves. BTS has pulled off being intimate with their listeners, all while building their name and fanbase internationally. It is worth noting that today's generation of K-pop is rapidly changing and evolving. More and more K-pop artists are collaborating with the biggest Western stars. Even the newest generation of K-pop artists is taking the world stage by storm. While it is only fair to give credits to BTS as one of the biggest contributors that helped pave the way for the world to finally appreciate K-pop, the idea of BTS transcending K-pop is still pretty much arguable. And while some ARMYs feel like BTS still being labeled as K-pop artists belittles their international recognitions and achievements, the same doesn't hold true for some ARMYs. But what do you think? Is BTS still considered as K-pop? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for the hottest updates on your favorite K-pop artists.